Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Hello, good friends. How are you? I hope you're safe and in good health. Congratulations on your practice. I wanted to start, since it's the only thing on my mind right now, on reading from the new book. Now, it's still in draft, and I'm still hoping that you guys come up with words I might be missing. You know what? I should put up the new table of contents. I will do that. Maybe I should put that up as a separate document that you guys could comment on. Where could I do that? I'm not a big fan of Facebook, but a lot of you are on there. Maybe it'll wait till the next video. I want you to see the list of words, terms that I've included in this reference. And maybe by reviewing the list, you may come up with a word that, oh yeah, I've always wondered about this term. Now, I don't want to make this a dictionary, as I've said before. I don't want to every term. There's so much information out there that's accurate enough to help us in our study. But there are many very important words like karma, like, life and death, the cycle of life and death. What is that? 3,000 realms. There are these incredible concepts that are largely misunderstood. And it's not until you read Shakyamuni carefully, without all of the interference of cultural biases and translations and all of that, or you read carefully Nichiren's many, many writings, that it dawns on you rather, once it starts, it's like dominoes. Once you notice, oh yeah, that's what this is saying in modern terms, then everything changes. Because we get caught up in the words, right? Anyway, I've talked about this enough. I just wanted to start reading from the current draft so you know what it sounds like, what I've got, what I'm including, and these can be standalone, like little chapters of the Buddhist Reference, and I'm going to call them, what should I call them? Buddhist Reference. Should I go part 1, part 2, part 3, like I've done everything else? Or should I'll list the term, Buddhist Reference, and whatever terms I talk about, sometimes more than one, sometimes just one, and that might have a part 1 or part 2, because some of them, I'm trying to keep it brief, which I hear some of you laughing going, yeah, sure. But truly, I'm trying to keep it to the point. So you'll see in this one, I'm just going to limit my conversation to the first term, which we've just spent days and days and days, and some 30 videos and podcasts on Nichiren and karma. Yeah. So the purpose of this book, though it's informed by Nichiren and the lineage all the way back to Shakyamuni, isn't to simply talk about Nichiren, but our Sangha's understanding of these terms. So let me begin with the opening brief chapter on quantum life Buddhism and why, I chose that term to indicate what our Sangha and the mindset of our Sangha on Shakyamuni's teachings. Okay, so here we go. Quantum life Buddhism. The Threefold Lotus Kwun, our Sangha, and Kwun is an ancient Chinese word referring to a sacred place of practice and study. Much like most of you will be familiar with the term dojo. That's a Japanese version of Kwun, a Chinese version, yeah? Our Sangha is of like-minded practitioners and students of the Lotus method as founded on the doctrines and teachings of Bodhisattva Nichiren and his elucidations of Shakyamuni Buddha's lifetime of teachings. Yeah? Because me, Sifu Sylvain's lifetime of study includes broad knowledge from sciences and engineering in many disciplines, as well as Nichiren teachings, being directed to our modern experience of the teachings, the intricate relationship between the insights of Nichiren and Shakyamuni, and throughout the scholarship of Buddhism to modern scientific insights on the nature of life and all phenomena are presented with this perspective freely. This I refer to as this school as quantum life Buddhism, to further exemplify the contemporaneity of Buddhist thought and the understandings in our modern experience, right? So that's the opening chapter. And feel free, because this is a draft, as I read this, and again, I'm trying to keep it brief. If I'm missing a key point or you'd like to hear more about a certain, it may not go into the book, but it'll be a topic to discuss in these videos, yeah? So please use the comments section for that. Then there's the copyright section, and here comes the table of contents. And finally, we get to the first term, wouldn't you know, karma. Oh, here's something I wanted to ask you. Right now, the table of contents is not in alphabetical order. I don't know if that's really necessary. These terms I kind of listed from the most obvious to the slightly more obscure. And that's because it's a table of contents, you can look through it for the term that you might be curious about. But I also am sensitive to the fact that things in alphabetical order are just easier to look through, right? So if you think I should put it in alphabetical order, let me know in the comments. If you think it doesn't matter, let me know that too. All right. Karma. The first thing I did was list, kind of like any dictionary or encyclopedia does. They'll give you like the most popular meaning or definition, followed by the second, third, and fourth, right? Or if there are that many. So I have 4 listed here. The first one is the energy of formation, and then a note that says C, engine of life. I have that defined in this book too. Second is the expression of formations into form. It's a little bit more precise identification of what karma is, right? It's a specific combination in the formations, the energy formations to form. Karma is not the energy, the source, but it's the formations into form where karma is formed, adheres, creates, has its parameters, its characteristics, yes? And then as each of those instantiations amalgamate, more and more of the same, formations into form, formations into form, formations of other formations into form, right? Chain reaction, so on and so forth. Third meaning, tendencies, obviously from that process, right? And the fourth, conditions. Conditions are both conditions in which the formations become form, and formations into form also create conditions. So it's this roiling, right, intertwined, just like every concept in Buddhism, as you'll find. So then I start with the definition. Potential, energy, plus influence equals formation and begets form or instantiation. So there, in one short sentence, I've combined a lot of words so that you can hear them as the same discussion, like formations and are influence. Influence is formations. Formations are influence, right? They're the moving toward. And begets form, and form is instantiation of whatever, right? Because as soon as it becomes a whatever, it is a form. In his earliest teachings, Shakyamuni Buddha spoke of the formations of thought and actions as a precursor to actual thoughts and action, right? This was pretty heady stuff at the time. People weren't really thinking about that. In India, largely mystical, magical influences, Brahmanic folklore from all over, millions of deities and God, well, maybe not millions, but lots of them, right? The general consensus was that your life was not of your choosing, right? It's still kind of that way today with the caste system, right? Your life is predestined. It's built in. And it's built in by conditions that whatever deities you are surrounded by have created for you, and that's your lot. Just live it. So if this guy comes along, Shakyamuni, and says, well, actually, those thoughts that are going through your brain, your mind, right? You think are in your brain. We will get into where the mind comes in, right? You have a say in them. There's a process that they come about, and it's not mystical and God and all of that. What? Yeah. You can influence this thing. They're your thoughts. You can actually help diminish some and increase others and create new. Yeah, you're an active player in this drama. What? Right? This totally changed the idea of karma. 27 centuries and more have passed since Shakyamuni first attempted to teach the workings of the human mind in the hopes that, building on this understanding, humans could begin to understand the nature of existence, air quotes, in the mind, and by extension, the nature of all phenomena. Everything works like this. Oh, might be a step too far for some. But just trying to grasp with one's own, the real nature of one's own mind, this was huge, right? This insight into the process of sentience, of the mind to conceive, was a perfect mirror of the process of all phenomena, the cosmos, and everything we identify as life, air quotes again. For Shakyamuni, this was the key. The fulcrum from the potential for all phenomena and the attachment of the mind to those phenomena would be experienced on the one hand with amazement and wonder, while, on the other hand, become the source of all anxiety and stress about ownership, obsessions, and the ceaseless craving to identify our special, unique place amongst all of it. Yeah? It was in this constant craving for identity that Shakyamuni located the nexus of our need to shift our mind's attention to the wonder of the process and away from the craving to be identified with and within it as a singular and therefore detached other than the process itself. A mind trained to perceive the unity of the gargantuan process of instantiation rather than a perceived separation would be the key to our reunification with the intimate process of life and naturally discard the cravings for otherness. Right? Now, I understand what I just said. For some of you, that might have sounded like word salad. So again, if there was something in that you need clarified or you think I should say differently, I'm willing to hear any input, right? The next paragraph is, karma is the process of formations. From this point of view, karma is neither good or bad. Karma, formations, is influenced by the actions upon it, whether those actions are initial conditions or impressed later by actions, thoughts, or deeds. When one freezes water, it becomes ice. Warm the water, and it becomes liquid. Heat it, and it becomes steam. All the while, the water never changes, but only its form, its expression, right? This is karma. The expression of it, you may like or dislike, but that's not the karma. That's the repercussions of actions that have been put onto the karma. It's a key point. So revolutionary was this teaching that many resisted and even rebelled against it. Alternatively, of those who would embrace the idea, there would be many interpretations leading to many misleading and complete misunderstandings of the goal and meaning of this insight. Karma is subject to our conscious influence and therefore can effect results as repercussions of those influences. But it is our influences, causes, that produce the repercussions, effects, and not the karma or the energy of formations. It's our interaction with that energy, yeah? Some teachers would then take the incorrect position that all reality was therefore existing solely in the mind. This is, of course, incorrect because it is our experience of reality that occurs in the mind, but not the actual reality. This is the rub. We'll return to this in the definition of Buddha later in this book. Leftover influences from Hindu mysticism assigned karma as a set of conditions imposed on us as a destiny and inescapable. I already said that. This is the very heart of what Shakyamuni was demonstrating as completely false and a propaganda used by authoritarian actors to control and manipulate the populace. An age-old story, yes? This very issue set many against Shakyamuni in many efforts to silence him. So a little bit of history there, yeah? Karma is not an actor as such, but rather acted upon. An initial condition can manifest in unfathomable varieties of ways, including dissolving immediately into quiescence. It doesn't have to become something. Only when influenced by additional conditions and tendencies can be said to arise, and a chain reaction of formation begins like the formation of this universe. A chain reaction from what has been referred to as the Big Bang, the inflationary period. It's just a huge chain reaction, right? Largely beginning with the first element, hydrogen, and prior, plasma, before hydrogen. Anyway, not a science lesson. Even then, form is not inevitable, as conditions may dissolve again into quiescence. This is, in fact, the very process modern scientists calculate in quantum mechanics of the QFT, or quantum field theory, of energy into mass and matter. And that ends the discussion of karma. Now, that may seem unsatisfying, but it's certainly, I hope, my goal is to make it enough of a snapshot that first it may challenge some previous ideas about what the word means. Second, it offers some different places to look to round this out. Yeah? Maybe a particular lens with which to reread and reinvestigate things you've read or have heard before. All right, so that's it for today. I don't want to do any more than that. It's a short video. But that's, so far, the wrap-up, the definition, a quick look at the term, word, karma. The next one is mandala. How short's that one going to be? Pretty short. So, thoughts? Is that useful? Is there a critical component that you've heard me talk about? Because I have hundreds of videos about it, yeah? That I forgot to mention? That would be helpful to include, right? So, I'm working diligently on this. And I may get some more insights that I want to add to that as I'm working on it. But I sincerely, I do want to hear from you. Some of you have had some incredible suggestions that I think, oh, dude, why didn't I think of that? Yeah. But again, make sure that it's something that if you were in a position of maybe helping somebody else understand, what are the key components you would want them to know from what you've learned in our Sangha? Because I don't have all of those videos that I've done instantly accessible in my mind, especially as it gets older. So please, speak up, give me your thoughts. I really appreciate your listening. And I hope this first chapter, at least, this first term, this first discussion, gives you a good feeling, good idea of what I'm trying to build here with this specific book of reference to our Sangha, yeah? All right, that's enough blah, blah, blah. Thanks again for listening. Take care of your health. Be kind. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.